am willing to put in the work for my business because I know how impactful that is, how many people I help with it. And that's the legacy I want to leave behind. And with my art, the pleasure that my art gives people, I want to make sure that book gets in as many hands as possible. And part of that is getting the word out. So I'm committed to doing the work.
It's the Inspiration Place podcast with artist Miriam Schulman. Welcome to the Inspiration Place podcast, an art world insider podcast for artists by an artist, where each week we go behind the scenes to uncover the perspiration and inspiration behind the art. And now, your host, Miriam Schulman.
Well, hey there, friend. This is Miriam Schulman, your curator of inspiration. Welcome to the Inspiration Place. Today is an encore episode of one of the most valuable solo episodes I've ever done. It's called Guarantee Your Success. But before we get there, I did want to catch you up a bit. So many of my regular listeners know that I have a son who lives in Israel. He's an Israeli citizen. And as I'm recording this, it's right after the beginning of the war. We are still very much in the uncertainty of what's happening. We do know that as of this moment, he is safe. I want to thank everyone who has sent me prayers and love for my son. It's not necessary, though. If you haven't done it, please don't reach out to me. I actually don't want to talk about it with anybody. I just wanted to share a few words with you since I know that I'm on a lot of people's minds. And as far as we know, my son is safe. However, it's a complicated term. We're doing our best to take each moment as it comes. Knowing we have so many people who care, it does help. But please don't reach out to me with your own anxieties or fears or anything about the situation or saying things like, I can't imagine how you feel. Please. I'm working very hard on managing my own feelings right now. And what's also difficult is when I do let people know that he is safe. And like I said, it's complicated. But what's also difficult is when people respond to me and they say, well, why don't you bring him home? Or, oh, good, he's safe. Because it's just not that simple. He's in the army and Israel is at war. Safety is relative, and this is his life. He's not on a trip. He's made a commitment to a life, one that comes with risks and meaning. I love my son. I respect his choices, and I honor what he's doing. With all that said, I'm staying away from devices as much as possible, which is why if you've reached out to me on any app like Instagram, I will be very slow to respond. I have taken the app off of my phone. I will respond to messages if I see them on my desktop, but only during my working hours. All right. So now that I said my piece about that, let's just pray for peace around the world. Thank you so much for your understanding. And now let's get on with the show.
Artpreneur is the definitive sales and marketing playbook for anyone looking to make a living from their art. Each page provides the inspiration and practical steps you need to build a personal brand, overcome starving artist syndrome, and finally make consistent sales from your art. The book has been endorsed by Andre Owen.
Most artists grow up being told you can't make money doing that. Artpreneur challenges that belief and fuels artists' ability to earn a real living.
And you should hear what Michael Shine has said about the book.
All creative people can use Artpreneur to put their work into the world, get it seen, and get paid for it without any of the guilt.
After over 20 years of successfully selling art and coaching other artists, Miriam knows that now's the time to pursue your highest dreams and finally make a living from your art. To order your copy and claim your exclusive bonus package, head on over to artpreneurbook.com. And now, back to the show.
So I wanted to talk to you about two things, maybe, I don't know if it's two things or three things, that have been coming up recently with clients thinking about joining the incubator. And they're asking me the same variation of a question. And that is, Actually, I'm hearing the same question from different sources. And the question goes something like this. What percentage get results? What's the difference between the artists who get results and who don't get results? What kind of results can I expect? And all these questions are coming from a very similar place. I mean, really, the question behind that is, will this work for me? And can you guarantee my results? But here's the thing. Only you can guarantee your results. And that is true of really anything. Any program you get, it doesn't really matter. Like if you were to ask 10 course creators, 10 coaches, what percentage have success? Really, does that even matter? And does that make the program any less? Because look at law school and medical school. I don't know if you saw, I'm just going by Legally Blonde. I think it was that movie. One of these lawyer movies where they usually say, look to the left and look to the right. And one of you is not going to make it, right? So like 30% failure rate or whatever it is. Just because not everybody makes it doesn't mean that the program isn't valuable, doesn't mean that the law school isn't valuable. So what makes the difference between somebody who succeeds and somebody who doesn't? Let me tell you. Here's the thing. My coaching program, the Artist Incubator, it's not for everyone. It is for highly motivated artists who are ready to put in the work towards building an art business. And building an art business takes courage. That Matisse quote, creativity takes courage. Well, building an art business takes even more courage because you have to put in the perspiration behind the inspiration. I do not make it a secret that it's a financial investment to join. And when you do join, I make a commitment to you in your art business. I put in 100% to make sure you're as successful as possible. But here's the thing. Let's talk about the guarantee. Of course, I can't guarantee your success because if you join and you don't put in the effort, you won't achieve the results you're looking for. And that's true of any program you join. You are the one who can guarantee your success. You. It's always got to be commitment first. I'm getting asked also on a lot of podcast interviews I'm going on, is there an artistic gene? Do you need talent? And that's actually something that I get from a lot of artists. Well, Miriam, they'll say, you say anybody can do this, but isn't it true you have to be talented? Well, I'll tell you the truth. Work ethic and good marketing trumps talent every time. There is an artist, Damien Hirst. I was on a podcast recently. I brought up Damien Hirst, and at first I thought he was American, but he's not. And then I said, well, actually, maybe he's English. And the host, this was not an artist podcast, so the host had never heard of him, but he is an English artist. He is 57 years old, born in 1965, for those who have never heard of him. And he is from Bristol, England. And one of the things that he became famous for, so he likes to feature death as a central theme in his work. So he became famous for a series of artworks in which he took dead animals, including a shark, a sheep, and a cow, and he either had them dissected in formaldehyde, and the most famous one was The Physical Impossibility of Death in the Mind of Someone Living. That's the title. That artwork is a 14-foot tiger shark in formaldehyde in a clear display case. And that artwork, I'm just going to look it up just to be sure. I'm pretty sure it sold for millions of dollars. Okay. It sold in 2004 to Stephen Cohen. He's the American hedge fund owner, manager, and he was the owner of the New York Mets. So it was sold for an undisclosed amount, but it's widely reported to have been at least $8 million. Yeah, for a shark in formaldehyde. So you tell me, is that good art or is that good marketing? Good art or good marketing? So we've all seen lesser artists succeed because they're good marketers. which that's what breaks my heart, is that there's so many talented artists like you who don't have good marketing skills. And that's why you're struggling. And who can guarantee your success? You. But you have to be willing to put in the work. Now, I have been willing to put in the work to be successful in my business with my art and all the things that have come with that. But I do understand the feeling of not wanting to put in the work because I've put on some weight since I moved to New York City, mostly because of all the good restaurant eating. And also because I'm in my 50s, I'm always getting shown weight loss ads for menopausal women. Like they totally know my demographic. And I went through this one quiz and it was like, they're going to mail me the menu. And it was like, whatever it was, $8 a month. I don't know. It wasn't the price. The price wasn't really why I didn't do it. It's just like, I didn't want to know what they didn't want me to eat. It's like, okay, they're going to send me this menu and all my favorite foods are going to be missing from it, or it's going to be a lot of work to have to prep all this food. And I just don't want to put in the work. Besides that, my husband happens to like the way I look and I don't mind the way I look. So who's my body for? Me and my husband. So as long as I'm healthy, that is. So yeah, I get sometimes we don't want to put in the work for the result. You have to want it. You have to want that result. You have to be willing to put in the work, and you're the only one who can guarantee your success.
Hey, it's Whitney McNeil with messengerofspirit.com and the Spiritual and Ambitious podcast. And you should read Artpreneur because it helps you step into an abundance mindset and charge what feels in alignment with your energy. She has done an excellent job in helping you create a profitable business. She also helps you kick imposter syndrome to the curb. So get your copy of Artpreneur today.
All right. So the second thing that I wanted to share with you is I recently signed up to go to a conference in Arizona. And this is put on by Brooke Castillo. And I'm recording this in November. I know you're listening in December. So as of this recording, I haven't gone to the conference yet. So who knows? Maybe she ends up with COVID or I end up with COVID and it doesn't happen for me. But I am so excited for this. And one of the things that I did that I wasn't even really aware that the people don't do this the way I do. So on the conference, you can go as either a VIP, which was, I forget exactly, $2,000, or maybe it was that 1997 bullshit, whatever. I paid $2,000 for it. And you can go as a non-VIP, and I forget the exact amount, but I think that was $200. So it cost 10 times as much to go as a VIP. And to me, it was like there was no question that I was going VIP. And yesterday, Brooke had a Zoom call for those who had signed up as VIPs. And one of the things she said is that, hey, you signed up for a VIP, you got to live as a VIP. You decide you are a VIP in your life. I was like, ooh, that's good. And she was saying how she always signs up as a VIP. And I was like, I always do too. And she was saying how great it was going to be, and they're going to have a lounge and this and that. So yeah, that's right. I know that like just one of the perks is that's where the good snacks are. And sometimes it's the only benefit of being a VIP. I signed up to be a VIP when I went to Podcast Movement, and really the only perk of being a VIP was we got access to the VIP lounge. Now, for that one, I don't think the price difference was as much. I don't think the price jumped from $200 to $2,000. It might have been like an extra $100 or $200 or extra $200 to be a VIP there. But it's not just about the good snacks. So it's about being close to the other people who also consider themselves VIPs. That's what I was paying for. That's what the VIP lounge is really all about. It's not just the good snacks. It's networking with those people. It's building that relationship capital. And that's the main reason I'm going. It's like, hell, there was this in-person event. I haven't had an in-person event in a long time. Somebody whose podcast I listened to on the regular was hosting it. There was this VIP option. I was like, hell yes, I'm going and I'm just excited to get on a plane again. But here's what I want you to know. As we move into this next period, so you may have heard me talk about this on the podcast. This is the time between the years, the period between really the solstice, which we're on now, December 20th, or you could pick the date to be Christmas Eve, wherever you want to pick it from here till the end of the year, those 10 days, those 11 days. This is called the time between the years. This is a German concept when they weren't quite sure when the calendars were. And I love using this time for introspection, especially if you're on my side of the hemisphere where it's the shortest day of the year. Our nights are long. It's dark. We're turning inward a lot. And this is a beautiful time to set goals for 2023. And my hope for you is that you choose in 2023 to treat yourself like a VIP, to recognize that you are a VIP. And I want you to ask yourself, who are you committed to being? Who do you want to be? And are you committed? Are you committed to doing those things that's going to get you there? Now, in that last segment, I told you I'm not willing to give up my bagels and lox and cream cheese. Sorry. So I'll be a little bit more, as my husband likes to call me, a little extra snubblier, a little extra snubble. But I am willing to put in the work for my business because I know how impactful that is, how many people I help with it. And that's the legacy I want to leave behind. And with my art, the pleasure that my art gives people, I want to make sure that book gets in as many hands as possible. And part of that is getting the word out. So I'm committed to doing the work. I want you to think of yourself as a VIP, and I want you to think about relentless commitment to your goals, because that's what it's going to take.
Hi, this is Tracy Otsuka with ADHD for Smartass Women. I have women who tell me all the time, yes, I have a nonlinear brain. Yes, I'm a creative. Yes, my passion is my art, but I can't make a living at it. And so I say, oh, really? That's a thought. It's not true. And you need to read Miriam Schulman's Artpreneur.
Okay. And the last thing that I want to leave you with is really on the theme of why I'm spending so much money on this conference. And believe me, I have absolutely no need to feel like I need to justify it at all. It's just there are certain things that I take for granted that I'm doing, and I don't always share them with you because in my life, I take them for granted. So one of the things that I have done, and I've done this for many years, I would say, oh my goodness, at least since 2016, I've joined high-end coaching programs, I've joined masterminds, and I do it because I find that investing in relationship capital is so important. So you've heard me, if you've been listening for a while, if it's your first time listening, yeah, I know I've been yelling at you this whole time. Whether you've listened to this podcast for a long time or a little time, one of the things that I preach about is the importance of email marketing. And people say to me, but Miriam, where do I get started? How do I start? All right. So you can fast forward if you heard me say this before. There's only 3 ways to build your email list. 1, your universe, the people you know right now. 2, other people's platforms, getting in front of press or other people's podcasts or their YouTube channels or magazines. And by that, I mean earned press, like free press. And the 3rd way is paid advertising. All 3 ways work. But the second thing, getting on other people's platforms, is way easier if you have a rich network. So the value of your business is always going to be proportional to how much you nurture your network. I'm not talking about handing out business cards. That's not networking. I'm talking about building meaningful relationships and also putting yourself in places where you can make those meaningful relationships. I mean, I'm just going to rattle off from the top of my head people who have been on this podcast who I've met in these situations. So, for example, Amber, She is the therapist who wrote this beautiful book for teenagers about healing your trauma. Amber Walker. We'll make sure that we link to it in the show notes. I met her on a New Mexico retreat. I met Flora Bowley, who's been on this podcast, on that same retreat. I have several artist incubator clients who I met in that retreat, so I'll shout them out too. Carol Tasker is one of them. Oh, shoot, I'm trying to remember the other gal's name and it's escaping me right now, but forgive me. There are a number of people from that New Mexico retreat that have become either lifelong friends or clients or collaborators. And then my mastermind experience with Ron Reich. Well, now I have like these lifelong friends, Jen Lehner, Patty Lennon, Anna Swee. I have these friends who I reach out to over and over again. And that is because I invested in these kinds of experiences at the VIP level. So the theme has been for today's episode about guaranteeing your success. So I want to just circle back and kind of highlight what those things were. Number one, know that you are the only one who can guarantee your own success. Doesn't matter what the numbers are in anyone's program or at law school or at medical school. You know, only 50% of people who apply to medical school get in. That doesn't keep people from becoming doctors just because it's hard. So you are the one who can guarantee your success. Number two, we talked about relentless commitment, and we talked about becoming a VIP in your life. And the last thing we talked about is investing in your relationships. So my friend, as you plan 2023, I want you to look at who are you being? How are you showing up in the world? What are you doing? What are your dreams? And are your actions aligning with the kinds of results? And keep in mind these things that maybe have escaped you. Are you showing up as a VIP? Do you work hard to guarantee your own success? Do you have relentless commitment? Do you invest in your relationships? Now, you can do all of this on your own. If that's what you're thinking, I applaud you. But often what gets in our way are fear and anxiety, and it can really help to have someone curate this experience for you, to be that guide, to help you through that, to help you navigate, to keep that experience positive. That's where the Artpreneur Live Mastermind experiences come in. So this is an in-person event. I will be doing 2 of them in 2024, and the first one is happening on April 4th, 2024. The Artpreneur Mastermind is a unique opportunity to connect with other artists and creatives and gain valuable insights to take your art business to the next level. You'll have me by your side, navigating it, helping you not project your own insecurities onto your customers, helping you with your mindset, helping you with the strategy. We have a guest speaker. And these in-person mastermind events have been hands down the greatest catalyst to my own success over the years, every time I've done one. So now that I'm recording this new section, I can tell you that in-person event that I went to, the Brooke Castillo one I mentioned earlier in the show, it was amazing. I love the energy of in-person events. And since that one, I hosted the one here in New York City in person in August, and it was incredible. The artists were left so filled with motivation and inspiration. Our theme for that one was about getting publicity, and there were at least 4 out of the 8 artists who attended who all got publicity opportunities as a result from that. So these opportunities, these mastermind events, it's not just about leaving inspired. It's about taking action and getting results. So now that the world is opening up and New York is back, I would love for you to join me to take advantage of the excitement of New York City to help you plan your successful year. You'll get a full day of laser-focused coaching with guaranteed personal attention. We have an exclusive workbook, goodie bag, snacks, treat. I'll take you out to a VIP dinner. And right now, since it's early, You can save big when you save your spot. So if you're ready to invest in your relationships and invest in your dreams and join me live in New York City, head on over to schulmanart.com/IRL, as in real life. All right. Well, that's it until next time. Next week, we have a special Halloween episode all about fighting your inner demons. You're not going to want to miss it. And after that, I have a several-part series. We're calling it No Clutter November. So it's all about decluttering and not hoarding. It's both hilarious, fun, and motivating all at the same time. You're not going to want to miss that either. So make sure you hit the subscribe or follow in your podcast app. And until then, stay inspired.
Thank you for listening to the Inspiration Place podcast. Connect with us on Facebook at facebook.com/SchulmanArt, on Instagram @SchulmanArt, and of course on schulmanart.com.
Disclaimer. The voice impersonations used in the commercials within this podcast are artistic representations meant to share testimonials, reviews, and endorsements of the book Artpreneur. Please note that these are not the actual voices of the individuals who provided the testimonials. However, all endorsements shared have been provided with permission for public use. We value authenticity and the trust of our listeners, and we ensure that all testimonials presented are genuine and used with consent.